Hi, my name is Tigran Gregorian, and this is week 10 reflection of the EDD van project. And these past few weeks, we were tasked with creating a cardboard template of the van, which we would use to make the plywood subflooring and the laminate flooring. The idea of this assignment was that each team would be tasked with creating cardboard templates of a certain delegated out section of the van based on a CAD drawing, and we'd have to make these cardboard templates 1 inch thick to account for the plywood subflooring and the laminate that we'd put on top. And these cardboard templates were made because it's way easier to mess up with cardboard than, or way less costly to mess up with cardboard than it is to mess up with plywood or laminate. Those would cost a lot, and this would just make things a lot easier to have a pre-made template that we could base our laminate and plywood off of. We ran into a lot of problems during this process, and that was mainly because of measurements and miscommunication. So originally we had measurements for the van, which turned out to be wrong, because once we put it in a CAD drawing, it's pretty obvious that when one side doesn't line up with the other, we did something wrong. And this was mainly because of the wheel wells. They actually weren't the same size, and we'd assumed they were, and that was on us for doing so. But we went back, remeasured everything, and made a new CAD drawing. So after we made the CAD drawing, we split up the sections into A, B, C, D, and E parts, and each team would get three sections or templates, 12-inch templates, because Mr. Hicks wanted them cut up into 12 inches. And each team would get three of these, with an exception of one team, which would get one more, but they had one extra group member, so it was fine. And these templates, our team was assigned letter D, and we split it up based on a CAD drawing, based on the CAD drawing with the new measurements. But that wouldn't be the final CAD drawing we would use, because we would change up where our starting and end points were. The measurements weren't wrong, but the starting and end points were, which didn't change up how many squares there were or how it was delegated. It just changed up one or two pieces at the very end. At first, we assumed that since we were doing 12 width, that it would be 12 length, because the wheel well would go up 8.5 inches, and the space to the ridge where we had to measure up until was 3.5 inches. So we just cut out 12 by 12 cardboard pieces. But this wouldn't be correct, as the ridge we originally used didn't run all the way through the length of the van, so we had to change that. So a lot of the cardboard pieces that we had cut out, just 12 by 12, would become useless. And we had to change a few things here and there, especially with the taping the van. So at first, while people were cutting out these 12 by 12 templates, a team or two went into the van and started putting down tape margins, like construction tape as margins in the van, to show what team has what. But these were completely wrong. They didn't have a baseline of where they wanted to start. They didn't even go to a back baseline coming out towards the middle of the van. They didn't really have anything to go off of. They just winged it. And this was really bad, because no one knew about this, and people were already starting to cut. So we had to scrap all of that. The people who had already started to cut their templates and make them according to curves had to redo theirs. And this was just a really bad case of miscommunication and misunderstanding of the assignment itself. From there on, we made sure to get exact specifications from every single group, that they knew what was going on, and we started laying margins down as an entire class. So the start would be where the ridges started, and the end was originally white rubber that had come pre with the van, but we decided we'd go a little further beyond that and make our own end point. It wasn't anything that ran all the way through the van like we had originally wanted, but it was the best we could do. And yeah, we used this one. And from there, towards the middle, instead of using the first or second ridge, which didn't run all the way through, we used the third ridge of the van. and we put a piece of tape on it. It went all the way through, and that's until where we had to make our templates. A big problem in the original taping was people didn't know what part of the tape it started at, and what part of the tape their cardboard template was supposed to start at, and what part they were supposed to end at. So this time we made sure to mark it with arrows showing which spot yours was supposed to be at. And this helped a lot for every single group, because now once we were actually done, everything fit together almost perfectly. There was almost nothing that was a problem, and this was honestly really surprising to me, because we had done it all separately basically. So why would it fit together? Or it's not why would it fit together, it's the likelihood of it fitting together was slim in my opinion, because human error, people make mistakes, they don't always measure up to their things, and other people have to compensate. But this time it was almost perfect, and I was actually really surprised with the outcome. From after the margins, we had to make our cardboard pieces. Our team's pieces were a little weird. Instead of going just straight like in order A B C, or A B B B C C C, Team C had originally decided they wanted to do two other pieces, and this was partially due to my error, because I didn't let them know about the back line in the beginning, but it was fine in the end. We just took a piece instead of them taking a piece, and it all came out to the same thing. Our group had to do 3 pieces, their group had to do 3 pieces. It wasn't really a big issue. It was just another matter of miscommunication, and this honestly is a learning experience. That mistakes, we learned from the mistakes that we were made here. Mainly communication. The communication aspect of these types of projects, working with so many different groups and so many different components that need to fit together, it's actually insane how much communication we need and how much it was lacking. But hopefully next time we'll do it better. And only 2 of our 3 pieces were finished, because each person was supposed to make their own. I had my piece, Miguel from my group had his piece, and Anthony had his. Anthony was not doing his piece majority of the time. He had barely started by the time we got there, and this was honestly very disappointing, because he had ample opportunity to do this. Me and Miguel had to do ours. Miguel barely finished because to no fault of his own. The other group had theirs wasn't perfect, and we had to compensate for that. That was the only issue. And Anthony, he didn't even finish his, which was very disappointing, considering he was working on things that weren't part of the class. This ties in with the issue of teamwork. My team, I'd like to think, is a fairly good one, but after this assignment's performance, I can't say the same. Me and Miguel worked fine. There were no problems. We got our jobs done on time. Anthony, big problem. He did not listen whenever I told him to work. He would not work, even while pretending to work. He would just kind of stand there, and that was an issue. I didn't think much of it. I thought that if he got his work done, that would be fine. But this wasn't even the case, and this really annoyed me, because he was doing other works class in our class, and instead of working, not even diligently, just working in general, he didn't do this, and that's a major issue we have. I'm planning to sit down with my group next time we meet and actually discuss this and make callbacks to the Constitution that we had made, that specifically said that we weren't supposed to be doing this. We weren't supposed to be working on other work, and we were supposed to be contributing equally. And that's an issue that arose, and that will be dealt with hopefully soon, and hopefully we can get back on track, just everyone working. My goals in this project are still basically the same: acquire mechanical skills, acquire skills that could be used all throughout my life, and just only one thing's changed. it's developing basic teamwork skills. You know, not every team is the same, and not every team has the same people inside of it, and that's very obvious. But I don't think people realize it until they work with different types of teams. I've worked with various different types of teams, and each one functioned relatively the same. And this is a different type of group thing that I'm not really used to. Everyone usually does their work, does their part, follows my directions at least. I'm usually the leader in all of these teams, but the disobedience, for lack of a better term, is something I'm not used to in my teams, because it's our team's job to deal with this. It's not Mr. Hicks's job. It's our team, and usually if there's any problem, like someone not doing their work, we could just tell the teacher, and this scare of not getting credit will make them do the work. But this isn't the case. We work as a team, and it's an issue that we have to resolve as a team. And this is something I haven't really dealt with before, and this is something that I'd like to learn to deal with. Just how to deal with the teams, how to come to compromises, how to get people to work, how to actually be the leader inside a team, because I feel like these are important life skills, and knowing these will make things run way smoother in the future for both this project and future ones to come. That was the entirety of the cardboard template project, with all our problems, challenges, how we got there, how we got to the end product. And thank you. See you guys next week.